Hi and welcome to First Lady Fashion and Style. It's a pleasure to always have you with me on this channel. So today we'll be learning how to make this cupped bustier with a front zip, and I'm also going to explain some of the things that we do on this channel. People have been asking me some questions and I want to use this medium to answer some questions on the basic bodies that we usually draft. If this is your first time, you're welcome. Thank you for clicking on the channel, and if you're a returning subscriber, thumbs up for you. Thank you for always coming back. So today we'll be drafting the basic bodies together in a way. I'm going to just rush through it because we still have a lot to do. This class is going to be for the drafting, and then the other class we are going to do the sewing because there are some things I need to explain. So this is the basic bodies, and I've already ruled out with pencil, but I'm going to explain what I did here. So on this side here, I left 1 inch in front here because we are going to add zip to this draft. So I added an allowance here for us to be able to add the zip. Now we have a box here. We normally draft our front and back piece together because we need to see what we are doing, and we draft it together here, and I'm going to explain what we have been doing on this draft briefly. Please, I'm going to rush through it. If you want a full detailed explanation, there is a video on how to draft your basic bodies, but I'm going to run through it and explain some few facts. So here we have the front pattern and here we have the back pattern. So I'm just going to go ahead to write the back here, and then this place is our front pattern. So to start with, we are going to start with the neck. So for the neck, we usually use 3 by 3 as a basic. So this is here 3, and for the length here it is 3. That is 3 by 3, and then I'm going to use my ruler here to curve out the 3 by 3. So the next thing we are going to take here will be the shoulder measurement. The shoulder measurement we're using is 6.5, and then I'm going to come down here by 1.5 inches. So somebody said why is because our shoulder is not straight, so that is why we usually come down by that value. So let's move to the back. So the back here is usually 3 by 1 inch. So this is 3 by 1 inch, and I'm going to use this ruler here to curve out the neck here. And then this place here, we are going to mark out the back. So the back we are using is 6.5. So from here, we are going to mark out 6.5. And where I have 6.5, I will come down by 1 for the back shoulder slope. The front is 1. The front is 1.5, while the back is 1.5. So the next thing we are going to do now is, how did I get these 2 boxes? I don't want to skip that. Now, the 2 boxes here that I divided into 2, the largest circumference of the body from, this is the shoulder to the upper waist here. So I'm going to be using this mannequin to explain some things. So it is from the shoulder here to the upper waist here. Now, I usually say something about the front and the back measurements, and that is what I want to explain next. If you want to take your measurements, you are going to use a rope. You can use a rope or elastic band or something. You are going to tie the waist. This is the waist. You are going to tie it up this way. You can go up by 2 inches from the belly button. This is the mannequin here. So you are going to tie it up, and then when you tie it up, you are going to take your measurement from the shoulder all through to the bust this way, and then to the half length where you want your draft to stop. This is 16. Now if I turn it to the back, now I still have and I measure it here. So you can see here I have 14.5. So if you tie your waist, your back and your front measurement will not be the same thing because of the bust area. So that is the explanation. That is why whenever we draft, we usually have the back pattern shorter than the front. So here for the front draft, I have 15. So that is from the shoulder to the half length. But for the back draft, I have 13 and a half. So I'm going to rule out the 13 and a half. That is the difference between my front and my back measurement. So I hope you can see that. Now for these two boxes here, the largest circumference is the bust. So your own largest circumference is your waist. You use your waist measurement. So I divided the bust by 4. And then the value I divided the bust is 33, I divided by 4, I got 8.25. Now 8.25 plus 2 will give me 10.25. So what I did was, instead of 10.25, I just went by 10. And on this side, this first box, I have 10 and a half. And on this second box, I have another 10 and a half. And then 10 and a half is for the front, 10 and a half is for the back. Remember, we are drafting half of the front and half of the back. This is what I do. Now, when we are drafting half of the front, because we know that whatever happens to this side happens to the other side. So that is why I said we are drafting half of the front and then half of the back. So I hope you understand that. So now the next thing we want to do is to draw the armhole line. Now to draw the armhole line, there is a standard for it, and the standard is your bust measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5. So here, and then I'm going to start the armhole from the back side. So when I did I got 7. 33 divided by 6 plus 1.5 will give me 7. So I'm going to take the 7 from the back shoulder slope all the way down here. This is 7. And then that is what I am going to use for the front shoulder, the armhole too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark a straight line for the chest line for that 7. So for me to get a straight line, I'm going to start from the very line here. So I'm going to add this one to it. So that will be 8. I hope you understand that. So I'm going to mark 8 on this side. Now on the middle side, I'm going to mark 8. And then on this side, I am going to mark 8. That is why we normally draft our front and back pattern together, so that we can mark things like the chest line together this way. So this is the chest line. I'm going to write it here, CL. That's the chest line. That's where we are going to carve our armhole. So now that we have this, I am going to measure on this side here, the back, which is 6.5 here, which is, yes, 6.5. This is 6.5. And I'm going to join the 6.5 to the shoulder slope this way. And then the same thing for the front too. I'm going to come in here, mark my 6.5, and then I will join the 6.5 to the shoulder slope this way. I hope you are getting it. So for us to now mark our armhole, I'm going to divide this line here. I'm going to divide this line here by 2 this way, and it's going to give me 3.5. So I'm going to take the same 3.5 here and also mark 3.5 here. So I'm going to come in for the back slope by ½ inch, and then I will mark it all the way up this way. And then for the front, I'm going to come in by quarter of an inch. This is quarter of an inch, and then I'm going to join it to the slope this way. And then to get where I'm going to curve it to, I'm going to put the bust measurement. So the bust measurement we are using is 33. 33 divided by 4 is 8.25. So from the front here, I'm going to put my 8.25 this way, and then I'm going to use my ruler to curve it from here to the 8.25 this way. So now for the back side, before I put my chest line, I'm going to, for this place, I will come to the waist here and I will take ½ inch. This ½ inch is called back tightening, and I'm going to connect it to the neck point this way. Let me draw out this place is the starting, this is the back line here. So I just went in from this place by 0.5 and I connected it to the neck. That is called back tightening, so that to avoid any form of back puff. So here I'm going to take my 8.25 this way, and then I'm going to connect the armhole this way. I'm doing all this. I have a video on it already where I spend time to explain. So from here I'm going to take the bust separation measurement. Now this is what we mean by bust separation measurement, from one nipple point this way to another one here. That is what we call bust separation. So I'm going to divide it by 2 since we are drafting half. So I'm going to divide it by 2, and I'm starting from this intake here. I'm going to divide it by 2 here and mark the half of the bust intake, and then I'm taking half on both sides here for my dart intake. Now from the top here, I'm going to measure from the back this way, the same thing I marked here, and I'm going to roll the line this way. Now on the back line, I will come down by 1 inch, and then I will connect the dart from this place this way and connect this way. So on the bottom side here, I'm going to take the waist measurement. So the waist measurement we are using is waist 25. Waist 25 divided by 4 is 6.25. So I'm going to take my 6.25 from this place, because we are going to cut off this back dart. So I'm going to take my 6.25 from here. This is where it gets to, but remember we have taken out 1 inch here, so I'm going to replace the 1 inch dart here, and I'm going to connect it all the way to the chest. So for this one, we are done with the back. So let's go to the front pattern now. So for the front pattern here, I'm going to take I've taken the bust measurement. So here I'm going to take the bust separation here too. So now for the bust separation, I have 3.75 here, and here I have 3.75. I'm going to connect the line straight down this way. So this is the front, so I'm going to use 0.75 on both sides for the dart intake of the front. You can use 1 if you are working for a plus size, and you can use 0.5, and you can use 0.75 depending on how much you want to hold it. So for this now, for the waist, I'm going to measure my 6.25. This is where my 6.25 is. Then for this dart intake, which is 1.5, I'm going to replace the 1.5 this way, and then I'm going to connect it this way to the chest line. Now the difference between the front and the back here is 1.5. So I'm going to replace the 1.5 here. That is what we call the bust. This is the bust dart here. I'm going to replace it here. So by the time we are done, when we hold this bust dart together, it's going to align. Sorry, I used pencil, but I didn't tell you what I did here. So from here, this line is for the chest line. I'm going to take this line here is the bust. This here is the bust point, and then 12.5 here is the under bust line. So I've marked it with pencil, but I did not tell you, I did not show it to you. So this is it here. This is the bust line, this is the under bust line. So from the bust line here, that was where I started the intake, the draft intake here. So the next thing that we are going to do now we are done with the basic. I just have to do that quickly so that I can explain some things to those that really do not understand the way we draft. So I'm going to separate the front and the back now, because I want us to do the cupped bustier proper now. So we have some measurements that we need to take if you want to have your cupped bustier. So for us to have our cupped bustier, the first thing you need to do is to, from the shoulder here, you divide the shoulder slope here by 2, and then you mark it. Whatever value you get here, you are going to connect it to the bust point this way. Now, so the next thing we are going to do now is we want to construct the cup here. But before we do that, in front here, we're supposed to come in by 1/2 inch for the gap. Now, look at this. The gap in between the two busts here, that is what we want to connect on this side. But because, and this is supposed to be like 1/2 inch, so that by the time you join the second one to it, you would have 1 inch. But because this draft is going to have a zip, I'm going to leave the allowance for the zip. So instead of coming in by 1/2 inch, I'm going to just come in by 0.25 here, 0.25 here, on the other side 0.25. But by the time I add the zip will now have like 0.25, and we're going to have like 1/2 inch. That will be like 1 inch in all. So this is what I'm going to do. This is peculiar because we are adding a zip to it. If you are not adding a zip, then this side will just be 1/2 inch on this side. It's only the very plus size that will increase, but for this size it's supposed to be 1/2 inch. But because of the zip, I took in 0.25 here. So the next thing that we are going to do here is that on the underbust, this is the underbust. Remember I told you this is the underbust. We are going to take our underbust tightening. So for the underbust, we circumference round underbust. This is where we call the round underbust, this place here. So you will take your measurement this way. You measure it like this. This is what we call the round underbust. So for the round underbust, I have 27. So 27 divided by 4 will give me 6.75. So I'm going to come here from the center here. I'm going to measure my 6.75. So 6.75 is here. I will measure what I have left. I have 1.2. So on the center part, I'm going to put here 1/2 inch. And I will come out here and put 0.75 here. So I have distributed the 1.25. So I'm going to come here and draw the line down to touch this line here. Now, a quick explanation here before I move on. If you are looking for a plus size and the underbust measurement is like somewhere here, and then you want to rule and you are ruling this way, at times people complain that they have too much curve to deal with. So if you don't want to have that, now what you need to do is this: just measure what you have here on your underbust. Like now, I have 2 here. I can decide to put 1/2 inch here and put, since the whole thing is 2, the whole underbust intake is 2, I can decide to, from this middle point, from this middle line, I can put 1/2 inch here and put 1 inch here. If I'm working for a plus size, I can put 1 inch here, 2 inches here, and then just draw it straight line. From here, you will take another 1 inch here or 1/2 inch here, 1.5 here, and draw a straight line. That will also work. So instead of having it curved, you would have a straight line this way and have a straight line this way. But make sure that whatever you take out from here, you replace it here. I hope you understand that. Make sure you replace it here. That will also work very well for you, especially if you are working with a plus size. So now that I have explained that, we can move on. So here I am going to join this curve here. I'm going to join it this way to this, and then I'm going to come back and join this one to this, this way. So the next thing we are going to do now is we are going to take we want to decide how high you want your bust cup to go, and most of the time you can either measure it or you can use from your bust point to your underbust. So from my bust point to the bust point here to the underbust is 3. So I can take from the bust point here and also go up by 3. It works. Or you can go up by 3.5. it works. So let's use 3 for this draft. So for me to get a straight line here, let me just measure what I have. So I have like 1.5 to this place. So I will just do this and then I will mark 1.5 all the way. So I hope you understand what I did there. It's just for me to get, you can decide how deep or how high you want yours to go. You can actually measure it. Now you can measure, you don't have to do a guesswork. So if you are taking your measurement for your cup bustier, you can do this. You can say from the lower part and measure and find out from the person if it's okay or the person wants you to go higher. You can just find out how do you want it to be. Now, when I talk about, most of the time when I talk about sleeve measurement, this is your neck here. You put your tape rule here and measure how deep you want the sleeve to come. Now, if you want to measure the cup, you measure from this side here, put your tape rule here, and then you go around and try and feel the person's bra cup where it ends on this side. For this pattern now, I can use 8. I can use 8, I can use 7.5. From this side, I can use 7.5, and you will see that it is well positioned. So that is how to take the measurement for your bra cup. So I'm going to just put the 7.5 somewhere because we are going to use it. So we have already taken the upper chest line. We are going to tighten the upper chest line by 0.75 on both sides. So you can watch this video again for proper understanding. I don't want it to be too long. That is why I am a bit in a rush. So now from here now, I'm going to go down by 1.5 again. This is where I want my sleeve measurement to stop. So on this point here, on this front side here, we are going to take our curve ruler and then we are going to curve it this way up. But there is a measurement we are going to use. Now from this side here, I'm going to come in here by 1.2 this way, and then I'm going to put my ruler this way and then curve from here to the center point like so. So now for this other side here, before I curve it, I need to close this bust dart, and before you close any dart, you have to open another dart. So this is it. I'm going to close up this dart here. I'm going to close it up this way, and then when I close up, check the side. If it's not matching, you can just use your ruler to match the darts this way. And then remember the 7.5 measurement we took. You will start from the front here and then you will mark this way. This is where the 7.5 gets to. So you don't have to do any guesswork. You can measure to have a proper measurement of the dress you are making. So I'm just going to do this from the underbust this way and then this way. So that is it for that. So for the upper part here, I'm going to close this dart here. I'm going to close it, and I'm going to use my curve ruler this way to curve from the top part to where I have my cleave depth this way, and then I'm going to turn it to join this one here. So I hope we can see what I just did here. So my cup is formed already. You can see that this is very easy. So that is it. We don't need the yoke, we only need the lower part of the thing. What we need again is the strap. Don't forget the strap. We need the strap. So what we are going to do here is this. I'm going to do a tightening for the neck. The neck tightening, I'm going to take 1/2 inch and do the neck tightening. Then this is where I want, by the time I close this dart here, I want my strap to be somewhere around here. So I'm just going to measure what I have here. So from here to this point here, let me just say I have 5.2. So I'm going to write it here, 5.2, because I want to remember the strap measurement, because the strap is going to come this way. This way I'm going to have my strap to my shoulder, this way. So I'm going to write the 5.2 here, and I'm going to keep this yoke so that I'll remember to put this one here. Then the front side here, remember we are going to add our zip allowance to it. So for the zip allowance, I'm just going to add, from here I'm going to add 1 inch, but you know I'm going to turn it inside. It's just going to be a zip allowance. It's just a zip allowance. I'm going to turn it in, but you know I have to cut it together with the fabric. So this is what I have. So I'm going to cut out this pattern here, and then I'm going to show you the next thing to do. The back. The next thing to do is, let's work on the back. The back does not have much. We don't have much to do on the back. The front already has a lot going on. So the only thing I want to do is I want to match this line here. So I'm going to measure it. What do I have? I have like 6.5. So I'm going to draw the line here, 6.5, because I want to match the line. So here, this is my 6.5 line here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my curve ruler to just curve it this way. From the 6.5, I'm just going to curve it down this way. Remember the back, we are just going to join the back. The back does not have any zip. We are just going to cut it and join it back. Now for the back darts, it depends on what you want. You can decide to cut it and hold it. You can decide to hold it. And then let me teach you another method. So you can decide to take your dart from the side this way and roll this way. So instead of cutting this place, you will leave this place and you will remove your dart from the side this way. That's a new technique I'm teaching you. That is why you need to subscribe to this channel, because we have a lot of things to learn together. So that will just be all for the back. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it out, and then I'll show you what we have finally, what we are going to transfer to fabric. So for the pattern, this is what we have. This is what we have for the front. This is the front pattern, you can see. So what I'm going to do is, this is where we have the zip. So I'm going to do this here to tell me that these two, I'm supposed to join it together here. This is the lower part, and then this is it. I'm going to join it together this way. So remember, I'm going to do the other side too with the zip. So this is my, I'm still going to keep this pattern to remind me of my strap, the measurement for my strap. Then for the back pattern too, I have not fully cut it out because I want to also measure the strap. So from here to here, I have 3. So from the neck here, I'm going to mark out 3. This is where my 3 is, and I'm going to join it to the body this way. So, and I'm going to measure so that I will know the exact. So here, this is what I have for the back. I have 6. So I'm going to write it here so that I don't forget, because the back pattern, this is going to be my back pattern here. So this is going to be my back pattern. So I've not yet decided if I'm going to cut this one off, or I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use the side dart. So this is the back, and this is what I have for the front. So what we are going to do in the next class, I don't want this video to be too long, we are going to transfer this to fabric. We are going to make our home bra. We are going to make our bra cup, homemade bra cup. We are going to transfer this to fabric and we are going to sew it. So don't miss the next tutorial. So thank you for watching. See you in the next class where we'll be transferring this to fabric and sewing it. Thank you for watching.